So imagine living with addiction. Addicted. Possibly one of the most overused words in Western society. Everywhere I turn, there seems to be somebody who claims to be addicted to something. I am so addicted to this word, and I am so addicted to ice cream. Call them the caterpillars. Ice cream, lip gloss. Oh my goodness, this new show on Netflix is so addictive. Addiction is the new drug that everybody claims to use. And while some of these things are definitely bad habits, usually none of them are addictions. Addiction is a huge, cruel, dark, spiralling, and spiteful hole, which envelops the very essence of one's being. It creeps up behind you, slowly, insidiously, and it smothers you. No child stands up at the front of the class and says, when I grow up, I want to be an addict. It's nobody's ambition or aim. For much of society, addicts are the others, non-humans who live on the periphery. Lying and living in the dark alleyways, in the gutter, totally persona non grata. But surely it is not the case that I am alone in having lived with the fallout and the tragedy of addiction. Addiction is kept private, a family secret to be held firmly behind a locked door in the dark. But I would like to shine the brightest of lights on this subject, because I am not the only one. You know someone. We all know someone, whether that is in your classroom, your living room, or even your workplace, who has been infected and affected by the pandemic that is addiction. What qualifies me to have this conversation? Well, that would be Adam. So let me tell you about him. Adam was 13 when I was born, the middle of my 3 big brothers, all of whom I do absolutely adore. When I was little, Adam was my storyteller who had the most wonderful imagination, taking me on the most unimaginable journeys with Jimmy Joe, Marjorie Soap, who lived in a big pink Lily Kelly boot at the end of my bed. He was kind and caring and considerate and always up for some fun, giving the tightest of hugs. We were like 2 peas in a pod, with the extra special bond of both being left-handed. At 6'4", with long curly hair, which was brown, and he allowed me to plait it when I was only 4 years old, just to match me. He was a giant, heartbreakingly beautiful, with a heart of absolute gold. He was my guitar teacher and songwriting pal, instilling in me a love for music which I will carry with me to the day I die. However, Adam left home when I was 4 to go to uni. How we went from a cushioned bubble of happiness and cuddles to complete and utter devastation, I do not know, and I do not recall. Around this time was when he started experimenting with drugs. For me, the next 5 years regarding Adam are completely fuzzy, because thankfully my mum and dad tried their very best to protect me and my siblings from Adam's mayhem and erratic behaviour. However, there is only so much one can do to protect me and my brother. One of my very first memories of feeling extremely let down by Adam was when he did not show to my primary school talent show, despite his promises to be there and his efforts to involve me in music. At this time, Adam's behaviour was causing heated discussions and immense disruption and tension within my home. I was also becoming aware of his drug taking, and although with no concept of what this truly meant, I was terrified that it would kill him. And I was only 9 years old. The next few years were spent in a heightened state of fear and trepidation, and Adam's drug taking had completely spiralled out of control. He was no longer working, but was now living back close to home and using heroin, alongside a plethora of other drugs. The very sound of my mum's phone ringing was terrifying, as each call and knock on the door could potentially be the last one to say he was dead. A few stints in rehab then followed, but this had no lasting positive effect. Adam was now living in a house where his only companion was his poor cat, Peanut, which is ironic because he is highly allergic to peanuts. They were living in total squalor, where nothing mattered except his next hit, which now only held back the pain and provided him with no pleasure. Off he goes to rehab again, and I go to his house with my mum to rescue his poor traumatised cat. On Adam's bed lay Robbie, his childhood teddy bear, alongside drug paraphernalia, a reflection of the damaged child who had just been shipped off to rehab. Periods of contact and non-contact with Adam then continued, while we tried to protect ourselves from his erratic behaviour caused by his addiction. But he still dominated our lives until my parents no longer allowed me to have any contact. I met him one day when I was returning from school. His lovely long curls were no longer there because he had shaved his head. I hadn't seen him for about 2 years, and he didn't recognise me and walked straight by, completely unaware of my pain. Soon after this, Adam was arrested and spent 1.5 years in jail. Although Mum and Dad visited him in prison, I had no contact with him. But I was able to write him one letter. And in this letter, I wrote of my pain and my hurt and my frustration and my hope that he would find help. Adam then got clean in prison, and he has been out for just over 1 year. He remains clean and sober, living independently with his extremely lively puppy, and holds down a full-time job. I am so unbelievably, immensely proud of my big brother because he has come so much further than any of us ever thought possible. So I am unsure if there is any way that I can express to you how truly devastating, traumatising and heartbreaking this was for our family, as it is for so many others. Our family is the definition of hope in the face of adversity. Nobody's life is perfect. Nobody's family is perfect. And this can happen to anyone at any time. And this could just so easily be your story. So my question to you is, can you imagine living with addiction?